Hey guys, so this video is going to be mainly about how to use Statcrunch. So hopefully this video will help on the Statcrunch portion of your take-home exam. So everything is going to be under Stat. So if you click on Stat, everything is going to be on it. So if you want to go ahead and use a hypothesis test for proportions, then you have to go into proportion stats, right? So proportion stats is going to go, if you go to proportion stats, it gives you an option of one sample or two sample, right? So if you click one sample, right, if it's a one sample proportion, you have the two options with data or with summary, right? If everything is summarized to you, you can just go ahead and just use with summary. If you have physical data or data that you have to enter, then you would do with data. So in this case, I can put with summary, and then you're gonna go ahead and put in your data just like we've done in class. So the number of successes. So maybe I was flipping a coin and I wanted to know out of 20 tosses, is this going to be a fair coin? And maybe I got 14 out of 20, right? 14 heads out of the 20 tosses, and maybe this is my alternative and my null hypothesis. So I don't know, it really depends. So you can go ahead and switch it around, whatever you want to do, make it greater than, less than, whatever you want. I'm gonna put not equal to, and then you press compute, and that's how you get all your results. So here's your p-value, and then depending on your significance level, you will reject or not reject. Okay. If you messed up, you can always go back on options, edit, and then you can just go ahead and say, oh, you know what, this should have been a greater than, so compute, and then you get still your same thing. So notice that in this case, the p-value was not multiplied by 2. It was a little bit lower just because it's one-sided. So that's how you do that one. So that's for proportions. So everything for proportions is going to be there. Also, one more thing with summary. If you wanted to do a confidence interval instead, notice that you also have this option for confidence interval. So this will also do it for you too. So let's say we said 14 out of 20 again, and then we wanted a 97% confidence level. Then we're going to go ahead and press compute. And here, my lower limit and my upper limit are present. So this is where the true value will somewhat lie. So here is my confidence interval. Okay, so that's hypothesis testing and confidence intervals for proportions, right? Now let's say you wanted to do it for means. Then for means, what you have to click on is t-stats. So when you click on t-stats, right now we're only doing one sample with data or with summary, and so this is basically the t-test, right? So if we put with summary, you have to give in the sample mean, the sample standard deviation, the sample size, and all that good stuff, and then go ahead and do the hypothesis test. So same thing, if it's given to you, then you can go ahead and do it that way. Now let's say you didn't get any of this data, right? Then you can just go ahead and just do, I don't know, let me go ahead and write something down, like, I don't know, I'm gonna write random numbers. So let's say you got data, these were your answers. Maybe these are measurements or something. You're measuring something. And let's say in that case, you wanted to do a hypothesis test based on this data, right? Then what are you going to do? Well, you're going to go to t-stats again, but this time you're going to do it with the data because now you have the data there. So you're going to click on the first column, right? And then you're going to do your hypothesis test. So maybe it said mu is equal to, I don't know, 15. And then mu is not equal to 15. I don't know. I'm just making stuff up. But let's say that's what it was. You would write out your data, go ahead and go onto stat, t-stats, and then one sample, and then press compute, right? And then you get this back. So this is basically useless. But anyways, okay. So that's basically what you do. If you wanted to do with two proportions, proportion stats is here. You can go to two sample also. And yeah, that's what you would do for if you were looking for hypothesis testing or for confidence intervals. So remember, confidence intervals and hypothesis testing for proportions will all be under proportion stat. Okay, one sample or two sample, whatever you want. So if I put it with summary, you have two options: hypothesis testing or confidence interval for proportions. Now, if you wanted to do it for means, you're gonna go ahead and click on t-stats. Okay, so you're gonna do that. go ahead and do with summary or with data, whatever I give you, right? And you also have hypothesis testing or confidence interval. Okay, well, hopefully that helped. And if you have any questions, just feel free to email me, okay?